Leading the way is Ricky Stenhouse. He has taken the high side alongside of Jason Leffler. They come to the start. Green flag flies, and we're racing at Bristol. And the question is, did Ricky maybe start a little too soon?
Well, it wasn't a very clean start, but Ricky Stenhouse did get a big jump.
Yeah, that was a great stuff out of Ricky Stenhouse. He was on money when it come to restart time, and he just drove away from these guys. He's looking really good now the first couple laps of this race.
Now, normally we would have our scoring across the top of the screen. We'll tell you that we are having a bit of a difficulty with that. We'll keep you posted as quickly as we can to get it fixed. We can tell you that right now you've got Ricky Stenhouse really pulling out to a big lead over the 16 of Trevor Bayne.
You can see how these guys are working that top line. You see Trevor Bayne on the outside of this track right now, and that's with these engines with not much horsepower, Andy. It seems like there's a lot of momentum now at this new design track.
Yeah, look at Kyle Busch. He's really using that outside lane. He's pulled right up to the back bumper of Trevor. I think if he can get clear, he might try the bottom right here.
See Kyle Busch working underneath Trevor Bayne right now. These guys aren't getting real nervous at the moment because they know that this caution is going to happen at lap 25, and that's when they got to go to work and get their cars handling good.
Well, Rusty, wouldn't you want to try to get as much track position right now while you have this tire on, so you kind of be in a good position when you do make that change?
Well, I would say get all you possibly can. That's a good point, Andy. I mean, just get all the track position you can. And early in the going, if you get away from these guys, you might keep yourself out of an early wreck also.
There you see the race leader, Ricky Stenhouse, Trevor Bayne in second. And here he is under attack from the 18 of Kyle Busch. And then right behind is the 30, and that is Jason Leffler.
You know, there's always been a lot of conversation whether you like the old track or the new track. The old track had one banking angle. In order to pass a car, you had to kind of bump them and knock them out of the way. But this new track, you can race on the bottom and on the top. And I see cars lap after lap running side by side like we're seeing right now.
Two former champions going after each other. Last year's winner, the 22 of Brad Keselowski, and the 60 of Carl Edwards. And you're on board with Dale Earnhardt Jr.
You see him getting really tight right there. Really hard for Brad Keselowski running that bottom lane. It can get frustrating down there when you have a line of cars up there and if you don't get clear, you can be stuck down there.
Well, a lot of times as a driver, you feel like you're trapped down there and you start getting upset. You're screaming at your spotter, hey man, get me to the top lane. I got to get this baby wound back up. I'm trapped down here. Now he's got up in the top lane. He's probably feeling better about it.
Tell you that the 27 has taken the car behind the wall. That's J.J. Yaley. Now that other story we want to put a period on. Jennifer Jo Cobb never came out on for the start. Dr. Jerry Punch has caught up with her.
Marty, she qualified the car, and Jennifer Jo, you did not start the car. What happened?
It's Jerry Maguire in NASCAR. I tell you, I was told 10 minutes before the race started that I would be forced to start and park by the owner mandating a black flag so the car could be ready for California. Then I was told that he was breaking the contract with me and that I would not be racing in California. And I feel like God has given me the opportunity to race in NASCAR, and I owe it to the fans, sponsors, that I'm not a stock car driver. I'm here to race. So I spent all weekend taking care of this man's car, trying to make me start and park to break a contract with me. And I thank God he gave me the strength to just walk away.
So Jennifer Jo has walked away, and there are other owners that are now coming to her to talk about what could happen in California next week. Jamie.
Well, Doc, Rick Russell is the team owner for the 79 car. Rick, we just heard from Jennifer Jo, her side. What is your side? He says he can't hear me right now, guys, but they have put Chris Lawson in the car. They're trying to get him fitted in the seat. This will be continued. Marty?
All right, so Lewandowski getting suited up. We'll see what happens there. Meanwhile, Ricky Stenhouse continuing to march his way through this field, and you can see he's already putting cars laps down.
Well, I'll tell you, if this is any indication how today's going to turn out, Stenhouse has got it handling perfect. And you know, there's drivers that have the best days of their life, and the car handles perfect. They don't make any changes. And right now, unless this tire change has a big change, this guy's in the driver's seat.
Well, I see another little bump, potential bump in the road for Ricky Stenhouse. If he looks in his mirror, he's going to see that 18 car closing in ever so slightly.
You see that guy closing in. Kyle Busch.
Here he comes.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and Ricky's getting slowed by the traffic in front of him. The 44 of Jeff Green and the 81 of Blake Cook. Ricky finally clears, but here comes Kyle.
I don't know if there's any indication of what we're going to see the rest of the day, but this top lane of this racetrack looks like the lane that most of these guys like to run at the moment.
See how Kyle has narrowed the gap. He now clears Jeff Green. And we're up to lap 20. Remember, lap 25, we will have the mandatory caution.
Well, it happens fast. I mean, we've already run, like you said, 20 laps. It doesn't take long to get around here.
On board with Kyle.
Now, Harvick's been working on Justin Allgaier for quite a few laps now.
Here, Kevin Harvick told us in the countdown show that he doesn't know what's going to happen when they change his tires. It's just going to be a big guess. He hopes he guesses right, but we'll have to see. I'm predicting it's not going to be a big change, but man, you know what? I've been wrong a lot.
Well, that's Harvick looking back from Justin Allgaier's car. Harvick, the all-time winner here in the Nationwide Series with 5 wins. In fact, he is second on the all-time short tracks. An average finish, 6.69 in 52 starts. Question for the quiz of the day, who's number 1?
Oh, gosh, I don't know.
You know, because I told you earlier.
Oh, okay, so I can't say it.
Sam Ard, and listen to this, 5.1 in 64 starts.
That's incredible. He was a short track king.
Wow, you got that right. I'll never forget that that white car he drove.
Yep.
Big old tires hanging out the fender wells. I think we just rock and roll around these places.
Elliott Sadler in the 2, the 38 of Casey Kane. And remember, last year in this race, Casey looked like he was on his way to victory until he got swept up in that crash. It was none of his doing.
You know, Andy, the air dam in front of these cars, they call it the splitter on the very front. They run right on the ground in the corners. And some of the crew chiefs are concerned when they change the tire that the tire might travel, let the front end travel more, and that splitter actually hit the ground.
Yellow's out. Yellow, yellow. Competition yellow. Straight up.
Well, we're getting ready to find out what that's going to do here when they change these tires.
You heard the call.
I would think that's their biggest concern if they can keep that splitter up off the ground. I know people are talking about more air pressure. Some are talking about less air pressure, so it's a whole pile of changes.
So the pace car comes out, picks up our race leader, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. He has led every lap.
Now, NASCAR is going to require everybody to change at least right side tires on this pit stop. They don't have to change the lefts. We will see some 4-tire changes, but NASCAR is going to require everybody changing right sides.
Also gives us a chance. We will share with you, we still do not have full scoring. We have the cars as they are running, but we can't give you the margins or who exactly is a lap down right now. There's a glitch in the NASCAR scoring that they are working on.
Now, Marty, Goodyear and all the teams are telling me that this tire that we're getting ready to take off the car, it's probably about 2 or 3/10 of a second faster than the tire it's going on. And so we did ask the question this morning, can you take this other tire and put it back on at the end of the race? Says, no, none of that. This tire is out of the racetrack. After this first pit stop, it's illegal to put it back on.
Well, we're about to find out just what these new tires, which is actually last year's tire on the right side, is going to do for these cars. They'll go around at least one more time before they open pit road.
Now, this is one of those tracks where track position is really important, but also that grip is important. These tires are, you know, to get those extra 2 tires sometimes can make a difference. So it's really a tough decision for crew chiefs to make this 2-tire, 4-tire call.
You saw a shot right there on Danica Patrick. She is running right now in 26th position. Okay, so you come in off of turn number 2, and you got to go all the way around. Let's send it to Dr. Jerry Punch.
And Marty, Jason Ratcliffe will have all 4 tires changed for Kyle Busch because the stagger is more than they thought they were going to be having on this new right side tires, with now a guessing game starting here with Kyle Busch. Let's go down today.
Doc, Trevor Bayne gives up 4th position. That's where he started. His car was good in and out of the corner. In the middle, it wouldn't turn, so they'll make an air pressure adjustment for young Trevor Bayne. Now let's go around pit road to Jamie Little.
And Justin Allgaier says he's plowing in the center, but it's not as bad as in practice. 4 tires is the call down on the track bar to help that plowing condition. In the middle of your screen, Brad Keselowski, he was happy with these old tires. They weren't having the wear issues that everybody else was yesterday. Remember, they're putting those tires from last time on Brad Keselowski's car. Pretty good. Vince.
Bottom of the screen is your race leader, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. says the car's a little free through 3 and 4. They made an air pressure adjustment in the left front. 4-tire change for Ricky Stenhouse.
So there come the cars off of pit road, and again, we apologize. We can't show you the race off because it's all hinged on our scoring, which currently is not functioning properly. So we'll reset it for you after 28 of 300 laps when we come back here to Bristol. Coming back to the green flag, 2-tire stop for Dale Earnhardt Jr. He was the leader, and he's got his hands full with Kyle Busch. I can tell you that Mike Bliss and Trevor Bayne both had tire violations outside the box. They had to start at the back of the line. Also, 3 cars that we know of are out: Byers, Yaley, and Green behind the wall.
I'll tell you, there's 2.
Let's go back to just show you what happened to Stephen Wallace just a moment ago, trying to get around Danica.
Starting to run out of room right there in this restart, getting a little frustrated, it looked like, pushed the issue a bit. You know, talk about Dale Earnhardt Jr., guys. I think this was a good time for him just to put the right sides on and gain all that track position and see if it's going to work. They only had 25 laps, and Andy late in the race. This might pay off, this strategy, knowing what this car does if they need to do 2 tires again later.
Yeah, but we got to see what's going to happen right here. It looks like so far he's able to hang with Kyle Busch, and that's saying a lot.
Eric Almirola in the 88 running in 3rd. Talked to him before qualifying. He said, we were embarrassed after the last race at Las Vegas. Everybody focused, and they've been running very good all weekend, and here they are running 3rd, under attack though from Ricky Stenhouse.
You see Stenhouse working that top side of that track. That's what I like about the new design, is that you can get that big time momentum. You get that big run on top of the track, and you know, sometimes that works that good for you when you got to defend a guy off.
Yeah, I watched Kyle Busch the first 2 laps of that restart. He was like 3 lanes up. He was way up on the racetrack. Still is. He's still running that pretty high lane.
You just got to wonder, they had Cup practice this morning, if Kyle was actually up there at the top of the track trying that lane out, seeing I was working, because just like you said, Andy, right off the bat, he went right to the top, and it's been working for him.
55 of Brett Rowe also behind the wall now as you continue to watch this battle between the 22 and the 6. Keselowski underneath Ricky Stenhouse. Left side of your screen. That's Joey Logano in the 20, and the 32, our points leader, Reed Sorensen, with Elliott Sadler, the 3rd car in the mix.
Yeah, you see this battle on the right side of your screen. These 2 cars running side by side are actually catching the leaders.
And you wouldn't, that's kind of abnormal to have 2 guys running side by side, be able to outrun the guy leading the race, but they're running not really so close together that it doesn't mess up their aerodynamics and all that stuff, so they can still stay trucking forward and keep the speed up.
Ricky Stenhouse running in 3rd. Let's get an update from Vince Welch.
Everyone was concerned about how the car would react once the tires were changed over to this different set. Ricky Stenhouse says no grip on the right side whatsoever. Going to work on the brake a little bit and see if that'll help him.
All right, Vince, on the left side of your screen, you can see that Brian Scott has his hands full with Kevin Harvick in the 33, and that is 11th and 12th on the racetrack.
Yeah, Brian Scott driving that Joe Gibbs racing car. That's a good break for Brian this year. Gibbs decided to start another team, put Brian in this car, and this is something a young driver has got to be loving, to go with a team that's that good and has had so much success in a nationwide series to get his year going.
Stenhouse still with last year's champion all over his back bumper. Keselowski trying to get around him.
You know, one good thing about this, Andy, I would think, is that they've run 25 laps in the other tire. Now they got the new tire, and they really need now another pit stop to tune up this current tire to the car. So I'm sure a lot of the drivers are thinking that, unless their car is perfect.
Yeah, we heard Stenhouse say that he didn't have any grip on the right side. I'm sure the feel of the car is a lot different. So I want to hear that, but also, well, look at this battle. Man, Logano and Allgaier going at it.
Yeah, Joey got loose and almost got into the 31 of Justin Allgaier.
Well, like I said, I want to hear this feedback we're hearing from Stenhouse, but his car is really good. He just took 2nd place. He's catching Kyle Busch. I want to get him back in the saddle. Say, hey, man, I know it feels different, but this car's running.
You know, that's a great point, because there's been so many times when I've been driving, I'm going, man, this car feels terrible. And a crew chief like you would come across the road and say, hey, man, you're out running everybody. Calm down. I know it's bad for you. It must really be bad for those guys.
Well, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is on the march. He is closing in on race leader Kyle Busch. We'll find out if he catches him. We'll step aside just for a few moments here at the world's fastest half mile. After 57 of 300 laps here at Bristol Motor Speedway, you're riding on board with race leader Kyle Busch, but the man right behind him is Ricky Stenhouse Jr., and he has been putting a lot of pressure on the man who swept all 3 races last fall here at Bristol.
Well, Ricky's caught Kyle 4 or 5 times right now, but he gets hung up in traffic, can't seem to make the pass. I got to believe they got a little clear track. He's going to get around Kyle. And I don't know if it's going to be the bottom of the track or the top, but he's been faster than me, Andy, on the top.
His car looks really good through the middle of the corner. See how he runs his high lane right here, but he's able to turn the car down, too, when he needs to, which tells me he's got a really good working race car.
They're both coming up on the color match 01 of Mike Wallace as they put him a lap down. Doc, give us an update on the 18.
Well, Marty, if you're wondering what 4 tires will do, including the new right side tire, listen in to what happened to Kyle Busch.
Really bad tight, but so it's especially center, but it's entry to center.
Now, Kyle had said before the race he thought the flexible sidewall on the new right side tire might make it looser. But Jason Ratcliffe, the crew chief, said, yeah, with the added stagger, the huge stagger change, it's probably going to make it very tight. I think Jason Ratcliffe was right. Right now, it's Kyle very tight in the middle of the corner.
And Doc, to follow up, talking to Jason earlier this morning, he was saying, I want a long run on this first change. I want to see what I've got, and it looks like he's getting it right now.
Yeah, he knows now what he needs to do to his car. And we heard Jimmy Elledge talk just before the race started that he felt like that this tire was going to be tighter, and it's proven out that he's right because we're hearing that from Kyle Busch. But Stenhouse, man, his car still looks really good to me through the middle of the corner.
You know, a car putting tires on and turning the car to make it tighter is really not a bad thing, especially if you're the guy that's got a really loose car with the original set of tires. This tire change could actually just fix your car, maybe something you couldn't have fixed yourself before.
These two holding station right now. As let's go back further in the field, and you can see that the 20 of Joey Logano. Here comes the 33 of Kevin Harvick. That is 11th and 12th on the racetrack. The 05 of Willie Allen, who has his career best finish here 1 year ago at this race, coming home 11th. He is the man in the 05 getting past and put a lap down. Let's get an update on that 33, Dave. Oh, trouble. Turn number 3 as our second caution comes out. And you can see there's damage on the 16 and also the 23 of Robert Richardson. It looks like Richardson got the worst of it.
Trevor Bayne's got some damage.
It was coming straight
too.
out the back. It wasn't coming out the exhaust, Walter. It was straight out the back.
It looked like he was losing some fluid big time, and you see right here, Trevor Bayne did get a lot of damage.
Yeah, they've run about 40 laps since that tire change, guys, so this is a good time to come down and just on these cars if they're not handling with these tire changes.
Get in here right now. We'll get in here, get right side tires on it, get everything clearance, guys. Have that patch ready for the race.
I see a lot of water on the track. I don't know if he lost a water hose or something. This car of Richardson. See it right there.
Yeah.
Let's go back and take another look.
See right there, the fluid coming out of the car going into turn 3. And there's Trevor Bayne right in that fluid, goes up and slams the wall right behind him.
God, it almost looks like a water hose broke off that car, Andy,
That's what it
or
looks
something like that.
You see Trevor Bayne, he's working on the outside of Danica Patrick. He's got nowhere to go. He's just got to run right through that fluid, and you can see, man, that's a tough break.
He actually got the front right, too. Take a look from on board.
Yeah,
Back it down. Once the front right in the middle of the track, easy.
No chance.
I hurt the car pretty bad there. The oil's everywhere.
Remember the feature piece we had at the beginning when he was singing he was at the car wash? That's what it looked like right there. A bad break for Trevor Bayne. Dave, you got more on the 16?
Just alignment, Marty, obviously on the right-hand side of that car. They decided to just quickly put 2 right side tires on, then they'll come back and assess further alignment issues on that 16.
Yeah, they're going to have a few problems there because that was a pretty hard lick, and they've been, I'm sure, all the steering parts, probably the trailing arm, rear suspension parts.
Yeah, if you hit the right rear corner of the car and all of a sudden as a driver inside the car it's changed the steering wheel, you know it's bent the rear end housing.
Yeah, I just watched him go down pit road. Right front wheel was pointed towards the wall, so it's got some issues.
Okay, so Robert is going into the mandatory infield care center visit, and the entrance to pit road is blocked. So we're going to quickly step aside for break, and then we'll be back for pit stops. Stay with us. Our race lead right now is held by the 18 of Kyle Busch after 69 of 300 laps.
Riding on board with Jason Leffler around Thunder Valley, the world's fastest half mile at Bristol Motor Speedway as the NASCAR Nationwide Series has just crossed the 1/3 mark of today's race. Had a couple of caution flags so far. Kyle Busch in the 18 has done most of the leading, but he's got his hands full right now with lap traffic and that 6 car of Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has just been dogging Kyle Busch all day long, staying right on his rear bumper. We know Kyle's going to be up front in these races, but Ricky Stenhouse has done a great job of not letting him get too far away and at times putting a lot of pressure on him.
Talked about Bristol being a place where you could get your first win that Stenhouse is trying to do. Then there's the guy that's won 3 straight races at Bristol, Kyle Busch, in front of him. Small obstacle. How about Stenhouse reporting on his car after that tire change that happened back at lap 25?
The tires are up out of the racetrack. You know, we're just sliding around on top. Don't seem like they're digging in and really using them. Almost like they just got too much air pressure or something. 10-4.
So Stenhouse and all the other drivers trying to give their crew chiefs as much feedback as they can on how to adjust these cars. Remember, this is a different right side tire now on the car than they started the race on.
And what he's talking about is it's a much firmer tire. You can up on top of the racetrack. He just doesn't feel like he's got that grip and that forward bite that he needs right now. As time goes on, though, and the feel starts to come in for these guys, I think all this will go away. And he's digging all over Kyle Busch right now, who is very fast, by the way.
And as we go back upstairs to Marty, DJ, and Andy, you know, as the crew chief, you're only going to have another 1, maybe 2 more chances to adjust on that car the whole rest of this race.
Yeah, you're right, Alan. Things happen so fast here, but what you don't want to do, I mean, he does have a good car. I really believe his car's better than Kyle's at this point. He doesn't want to adjust himself out of the ballpark. You know, especially with these tire pressures, you know, you can get off on that and then and not get it back before the end of the race.
You know, the tire pressure you just mentioned, that's a huge adjustment tool here at this particular racetrack. And yesterday I was kind of walking around the garage area talking to some guys, and a lot of guys are using a simulation tool right now, and it calls for a lot of air pressure, but old school tells you, hey, get that air out of the tires. It'll probably make the car better.
Mike Bliss has gotten 2 laps down now as he's been passed by the front 2. And Danica Patrick, the last car on the lead lap, in 20th position. She is about to go a lap down here on lap 117.
Yeah, last restart, she lost a ton of spots and got in kind of a jam and lost a lot of time. Now it's going to cost her a lap.
That's one thing about this track. You just cannot lay back on the restarts. You got to get all you can, because you're running around this racetrack in about 16 seconds. You're going to get lapped quick if you don't hustle on these restarts. So I found that out the hard way.
She ran 236 laps in the 4 practice sessions yesterday. And right now, as we mentioned, she is 1 lap down now in the lucky dog position in 20th place. Top of the hour, if you've just tuned in, let's get you caught up. We're working lap number 120 at 300 as Kyle Busch has led a total of 88 laps so far. We've had 3 different leaders here, a total of 2 lead changes, 2 cautions. The first, the mandatory at lap 25, where they wanted to change the tires. And then the second one for a 2-car crash involving Trevor Bayne. He is back out on the track, but he is also a lap down. Let's get you up to speed with Nationwide Insurance. And first up is Dr. Jerry Punch.
Well, Kyle Busch picking up where he left off here last August when he dominated all 3 events here to win the Nationwide Camping World Truck Series and Sprint Cup events. Kyle right now says the car is still very, very tight in the middle, but loose in and loose off. He's been told by his crew chief, hey, I can fix the middle, but I will kill your exits. Why don't we just leave it alone? Vince.
Well, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. having another outstanding run. Has led some laps today, currently running 2nd. Big change from a year ago when he was 36th in points at this stage. He says the biggest improvement for him is the fact that he's learned how to race in this series. He's learned when to push and when to ease out, when to take what the car has given him. He says that's been the biggest difference. Right now, the car a little loose in for Stenhouse. Jamie?
And Brad Keselowski in the 22 behind him started this race 12th. He said as this run goes on, his car is getting a little tighter with that new right side tire. He is very sensitive, though, about the tire wear. Remember, the last 2 weeks, he cut a tire in the last 2 races. So his team telling him, nobody's complaining, the tires are good. Doc?
Back to last August. Focus, it took Dale Earnhardt Jr. 225 laps to drop from 34th starting spot into the top 5. It only took him 3 laps to get in the top 5 today. He thinks he's got a very good race car right now, a little bit loose, even more loose at the top of the racetrack. And Dale just told his crew chief, right now the car is getting better and better lap after lap. Vince.
Running 5th is the 60 of Carl Edwards, a winner here at this track back in 2007. They've worked hard on this car throughout the practice sessions this weekend. Took some big swings at it to get it fast for Carl. Pretty solid right now. He says it's turning in nice, but it's still a little tight through the center for the 60 of Carl Edwards running 5th.
Next up is the 88 car of Eric Almirola, one of the cars owned by Junior Motorsports. And Eric said this is the kind of racetrack he's been looking forward to thus far this year. They have struggled with tight race cars the first 3 events. He has not had a top 10 finish yet. Eric told his crew he thinks we have at least a top 3 car today, if not better. Jamie.
And Joey Logano in the 20, we've talked about him a little bit. He actually just came on the radio moments ago and said, guys, I'm glad we stayed out that last round of stops. This car is getting better as the pressure builds up on this new tire. So Joey Logano liking the change in the tire and liking his car right now. Vince?
The 38 of Casey Kane is running 8th. This is the 3rd time that he has run with crew chief Stuart Cooper here at Bristol. All 3 times they've had fast race cars, but all 3 races have ended in accidents. They both told me today they feel like they're due. Right now they've been working on getting that car to snug up for Casey Kane. Dave Burns?
After making a pit stop, Kevin Harvick restarted 16th on this run. He's driven all the way up to the 9th position. The last time, he said the car was plowing, so they made a track bar air pressure adjustment. He just radioed in. He said the car is still tight in the center, but at least he didn't use the word plowing.
And Justin Allgaier behind him in the 31. He said the car is getting better as the race goes on. He wasn't that thrilled with it in practice, but so far the changes have worked. They too stayed out that last round of stops. Let's go back upstairs to Marty.
17 cars still on the lead lap. 7 are either out of this race or behind the wall. You've got a complete update now on the top 10. There they are. Ricky Stenhouse, the only group in that top 5 that has never won here at Bristol. Does that change today?
Looking at race leader Kyle Busch, who has not been on pit road since lap 27. He's just completed lap 163 now, which means we're going to be coming up on some green flag pit stops. And here at Bristol, the only track with separate pit roads, front stretch, back stretch, that means different procedures for pitting under green than under caution.
Yeah, really got to pay attention on this, guys. You can come in on either side and exit on the same side that you come in. If you come in under caution, you have to come in off 2 and go all the way around. So it's going to be interesting. It makes it really, really hectic down on pit road. But guys got to hit their marks, hit their spots, and keep that track position with good pit stops.
Kyle Busch with the first pit at the entrance of pit road off of turn number 2, the entrance to that backstretch pit road, while Ricky Stenhouse has the last pit on the front stretch pit road. And he's got to come all the way down before he makes his stop and do it like that. Come in off of turn number 4 instead of messing it up.
All right, he's on pit road.
It seems like everybody, every time we have one of these sets of green flag pit stops at Bristol, at least once a race, somebody messes it up. But Stenhouse running second, got it right this time. He's on pit road as he completes the 167th lap of this race. Vince?
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is going to get a 4-tire change. They're also going to make a chassis adjustment in the right rear. It's still a little too free on entry and tight in the middle. Doc?
Dale Earnhardt Jr. very, very loose in the middle. They will change 4 tires and try to get it completely full of the Sunoco E15 fuel. Remember, Earnhardt can now go all the way to the checker flag if he wants to. Marty?
All right, Doc, so Junior comes back out onto the track. Another series of pit stops still to come. We can tell you Mike Bliss is also in. He is 4 laps down right now in 30th position. A total of 10 cars at this moment on the lead lap. But again, we're going to be cycling through pit stops, so things are going to be happening fast and furious. Kyle Busch is still the race leader. He's leading Brad Keselowski by 5.2 seconds. You saw Carl Edwards there in the 60. He is enlisted in 3rd. Logano is in 4th, but here comes Carl Edwards now down pit road as he has to slow down to 30 miles an hour. That's pit road speed. Vince, coming your way.
Carl Edwards looking for that big breakthrough performance. He was 2nd at Phoenix and 6th at Vegas. They felt like maybe they had a winner here today. So far, they've been hanging around the top 5. It's going to be a 4-tire change, also making an air pressure adjustment to go with that Sunoco fuel. Car is tight in the middle and a little loose in. Marty.
And you can see them still finishing up the work. The clock is still ticking. And 16.9, a little bit longer than they probably wanted. Still out on track is Kyle Busch, Brad Keselowski, Joey Logano, Casey Kane. There is Kyle in a 5-car mix-up as he's trying to get around the 30. That is Jason Leffler. And Leffler is running in 9th position right now.
And Allgaier goes real high in 3 and 4.
Yeah, it looks like Justin Allgaier in a 31. Starting to have some problems. He slid way up high. There he goes again.
Right front, down, inside, clear low, get it down there, all clear.
You heard him say right front, so they have a tire.
Pick it up, guys, right front, down.
So Justin Allgaier, who was shown in 9th position, is going to have to bring it in. Jamie?
That's exactly right. There was not much warning. He said, guys, right front, right front. You saw him just save it and keep it off the wall. He's coming in. It was just about a few laps from when he was going to pit anyway. They're going to put 4 tires on it, and thankfully, the car is okay.
Right side of your screen, you can see Jason Leffler still trying to hold off Kyle Busch, trying oh so desperately to stay on the lead lap. He is listed in 8th position. And so now as he gets around, 7 cars on the lead lap. But again, remember, Kyle has to make his stop. Coming up on the 99 of Ryan Truex, who celebrated a birthday just yesterday. Here comes Michael Annett, Jamie.
He's in. The word is take 4 tires here. He's been working with this car. It's interesting how the new right side has made all of these cars tight through the middle. That seems to be the same deal. They're going to fill it up with Sunoco fuel. You see the can and the left rear.
16.8, very close to the same time we saw for Carl Edwards. This is our first green flag stretch over 100 laps at Bristol ever in this series. So a little bit of history on the length. And right now Kyle Busch is not complaining. His lead over Brad Keselowski, 4.5 seconds.
Well, he had that Ricky Stenhouse was kind of stalking him there, and Ricky made that pit stop. So now he's able to get some laps on these new tires. Maybe he can make some of this ground up on Kyle Busch.
Remember we told you it's 30 miles an hour on speed. Oh no, and again, how many times this year have we seen the 22?
It's a 3rd in a row right there.
Now.
Right front again.
Keep digging, caution down now.
Caution has come out, our 3rd of the day. Remember, he was leading the race at Las Vegas.
And we heard him earlier today say that he was worried about he was putting too much pressure on that right front, the way the car was, that he was afraid this was going to happen.
All right, as a crew chief, are you starting to look at camber situations?
Oh yeah, I mean this is a trend now for this team. That they're going to have to get this under control.
There it goes.
Yeah, it just takes off right there. But tell you, this new car is a lot tougher than that old car we used to run last year. These babies can take a pound and keep on ticking, it looks like. The Cup cars are much stronger. And because of that, these Nationwide cars look about like the Cups when it comes to being tough.
Yeah, there's a big breakdown for Kyle Busch, though. He stayed on the track. Going to make his stop under caution.
And we'll probably have several cars take the waiver round as well to get back on that lead lap.
A lot of different setups out there, Marty. I've been looking at a lot of different cars. A lot of them running what they call the conventional setup, big front springs. A lot of them running what they call the coil-bound setup, real soft. Here comes Kyle Busch, guys.
Your race leader, and he's first pit right there, Doc.
They are told to be very deliberate, not only getting it full of Sunoco fuel, putting the 4 tires on, and you have got to clean that front grille. It has got a lot of tire debris and dust on it. Dave.
Doc, Kevin Harvick has gone back to using the word plowing about his race car. He'll come down and give out the 5th position on the racetrack right now. Waiting to see, here he comes. Tires for this race car, and also Kevin wants a piece of duct tape to be put into the car through the window. His fresh air hose is flopping around in a way that he doesn't like, so he'll get some repairs made on the interior of that car, as well as getting a chassis adjustment, air pressure adjustment for a car that is very tight through the center of the corner. Jamie Little.
And Joey Logano, we sound like a broken record, but he too tight. They're going up on the track bar. 4 tires, they'll fill it up with Sunoco fuel. Vince.
The 38 of Kasey Kahne has been fighting loose all day long. They're going to go up around on the right rear wedge, 4 tires, and try to get that thing a little tighter for Kasey Kahne. Been battling the same thing all day, Marty.
12.4 seconds. That is a good pit stop for that crew. And as Kasey Kahne comes across the line, he gets back out, and the race off pit road. Kyle Busch will maintain the race lead. Kahne picks up a spot. Joey drops one. Harvick and Almirola each pick up one as well. Just went back to green flag racing. Kyle Busch was on point. The top 7 cars did not pit. Dale Earnhardt Jr. got the wave around. 10 cars, or a lucky dog I should say, 10 cars on the lead lap.
Yeah, the only unlucky thing about Junior, he has to start at the tail end of the longest line there, so he doesn't get to line up behind the leaders, but he did get 4 tires.
Yeah, he came in for a pit stop after getting the lucky dog. Doc, give us the strategy on that.
They decided to go ahead and come on pit road and take 4 tires and fill it up with fuel. And by the way, just before he came in, Dale Earnhardt Jr. said, "This is the best car on a long run I can ever remember having at Bristol. We put 4 tires on this thing, boys. We can win this race." So watch out for that 5 car. Very, very confident Dale Earnhardt Jr. now on the bottom of the racetrack.
Yeah, I agree, Doc. I think he has one of the better cars. If he can get another quick caution here where he can line up with the leaders, I believe he has something for him.
Chris Heroy, of course, calling the shots. Biggest thing he's got to watch out is he's on 4 fresh tires. A lot of those guys in front of him are not.
Tell you one thing I've noticed, so you pick up about 3 or 4 tenths on new tires, a lot less than what I'm accustomed to seeing. So Junior's in the back, and it is going to take him a while to get to the front, and I think he's going to have a caution to get back in the game right now.
Yeah, this is the car, though, the Kasey Kahne is 38 that took 4 tires, and he has track position, drives around Keselowski on the outside. And Keselowski's car is a little bit wounded.
And that puts Kahne up into the 5th position, Vince.
Well, when Kahne came in, he had to go back 8th, but remember, he took on those 4 fresh tires. Said the nose has been pushing, but he still doesn't feel like he has enough grip in the right rear, so they addressed that, and their pit stops have been spectacular. The 48 crew, Jimmy Johnson, pitting this team today, and they have been spot on, Marty.
Well, and all those cars, like we said, from 7th back, they're basing some of this on statistics because the last green flag stretch has been 32 laps or less in the last 16 Bristol races in this series. So they get the track position back when everybody else would have to stop.
Well, the leaders don't have to stop. They can make it the rest of the way. I think right now you're just seeing the difference in strategy with, Kasey Kahne taking these tires. His car was not good enough to win. They made a good call by bringing it in. Now we have a caution.
Hold the brake, hold the brake, hold the brake.
And it's Danica Patrick, the first time this year. She has tagged the wall.
You okay?
She was running in the 17th position, 2 laps down.
It's just one of those things here. One of those things off the corner.
I said if she can get a top 20 finish, that's awful good for her right here. I mean, her first time here, she was looking good, running 17th. That'd have been my goal for her. Give me a good top 20. Let me get out of Bristol clean. Let's see what happens here, guys.
They just got up into Ryan Truex, and then, oh, man, hammered that wall.
Oh, and they saw the Scott Wimmer, he was trying to avoid it. He got turned around as well.
It was a hard hit.
This just shows you how fast you go at this little racetrack.
Good point. A lot of people think it's a short track. You're not running too fast, but you're getting in those corners close to 140 miles an hour here at Bristol. Still flying around this little racetrack.
Bad news for Danica Patrick. Good news for Carl Edwards. He was in the lucky dog position. That'll put 11 cars back
She's
on
mad,
the lead
man.
lap.
Look at this. She's going to get out on the racetrack. She is like, what is going on, dude?
I didn't see him do anything. I didn't see Truex do anything there.
Well, we mentioned Ryan turned 19 just yesterday.
These two might have been racing awful hard a couple laps before that because it looked to me like Danica actually went up and hit the back of Ryan Truex Jr. And that's what got her loose.
Well, let's go on board with Danica and take a ride as we head to commercial break.
Hold on to it, hold on to it, hold on.
Jason Leffler has never led the points in his Nationwide Series career. Today could change that. You know, we mentioned Ricky Stenhouse. He is 14th right now in 2 laps down. Of course, that penalty is what really set him back. He's never been able to recover from that.
No, couldn't get back from that one. He's got to be so frustrated when this race is over because he's got fast lap times. He run up front throughout the whole day. But again, guys, it's Bristol. Things are going to happen. We know he can drive the car, and he's looking good. He's there now. He's just got to finish the deal and get his first win.
It doesn't look like it'll be today, however, as there's just 23 laps to go, and Kyle Busch just keeps clicking them off. We've had 4 different leaders, but Kyle has led 245 laps. Ricky led 28, but they were early in the race.
You know, you got to believe these Cup guys that are in the Nationwide race, they've got to learn something for tomorrow. They got to take that information and learn from this tire change and apply it to what they're going to do. They did get 1 practice session, the Cup guys did, but still, I think it's an advantage for them to be in this race to transfer over to tomorrow.
And this battle continues between Keselowski and Edwards. This is a battle for 9th. And they've been known in the past not to give each other too much quarter, but so far, so good.
So you got to give Keselowski's crew a lot of credit for getting this car back competitive again after that right front tire went down and he hit the wall and caused a lot of damage.
You mentioned earlier they've had problems with the right front corner on this 22 car all year long with blowing tires out, and they probably learned a lot from this particular race about be a little more conservative. And
no, it might be something to do with their philosophy and setup. You know, they had a crew chief change on this team, and Todd Gordon might just have a little different philosophy that may not work well with the driving style of Keselowski. You know, maybe Brad drives a little bit harder on that right front, and he may have to adjust.
They both went around the 15 of Timmy Hill. He is several laps down, 7 to be exact, in 29th position. Left side of your screen, you can still see it is Harvick leading Elliott Sadler. That is 4th.
Got a smoker there. Looks like Mike Wallace.
Yeah, Mike, the 01 car is smoking, and he is making his way towards pit road. We'll get in and out of the way before needing a caution. Whoa, Logano comes up on Sadler there.
Yeah, if you look up front there, Casey Kane's now pulled that gap down to a 2nd.
Okay, did Harvick, realizing he isn't going to win this race, did he just sort of give way to the faster 2 car?
Well, that's not like Kevin Harvick to do something like that, but it is his teammate, and he's not racing for the points. Elliott is, and these are equal cars. They come out of the same shop, same engine, same chassis, same bodies. So he's just being a kinder Kevin Harvick.
Well, and he is pulling away a little bit. It would put him 8th in the points right now. Getting back into the mix, he'd be 32 points out of 1st. Let's get an update. Pit road, Dave Burns.
And the only thing to consider here, guys, is that earlier we heard radio from Kevin about how they have not improved that race car all day long. That's not the case for Elliott Sadler. About halfway through the race, the change that they made to that car, he called a good change to the crew. That's one of the reasons why Elliott's so much better now. I don't think Kevin just let him by.
All right, thanks for the update, Dave. As we mentioned, Sadler has opened up some ground on him. Joey Logano now getting a little bit closer to that 33. Nothing has changed up front. Kyle Busch is 0.8 of a second in front of Kasey Kahne. And give you an idea of just how big 0.8 of a second is, there they are.
Well, it was 1.8 seconds about 10 laps ago, so he's able to close it down to less than a second. Kyle has had a lot of traffic to deal with, and Casey's had to deal with it too. So, you know, kind of interested to see if they've got, you know, if this tire strategy will pay off for Kasey Kahne. His car hadn't been right all day either, and he was kind of forced to make a lot of pit stops and tighten it up.
Ready to go at the line.
There'll be 10 laps this time by. And think about this. If Kyle goes on to win this race, it'll be 4 straight races, going back to last year's sweep at Bristol.
Yeah, let's face it. I mean, this particular track is one of the most famous short tracks in the whole country, and Kyle Busch likes to win. And I can tell you one thing, he doesn't like to win any more else than he likes to win here. He loves to win this place because it's such a popular track, so prestigious when you win here.
Yeah, there's only one touring race last week. Kasey Kahne won that one in the Truck Series at Darlington.
And remember this also, no back-to-back Bristol winners in this series since Steve Grissom did it back in 1995.
Now, Kyle's got some heavy traffic to deal with these last few laps.
Kevin Harvick, as we mentioned, he's got his hands full with the 20. As you can see it, Joey Logano, and Stenhouse is 14th, but he is 2 laps down in the mix.
Kevin Harvick and Joey Logano had a little dust up here last year on the last lap.
If you remember, Logano was running 5th. He got dumped by Harvick. He ended up 14th and was none too pleased about it. In fact, I asked him, I said, you have a long memory on that? He goes, oh, no, that was a year ago. He says, we've had so many run-ins since.
These guys never forget nothing. I promise you that. It's in your memory bank.
You see, Kyle, you mentioned that lap traffic. There he is on the right side of your screen. Second car there, the 18.
Only got a few laps now. It's 5 to go. Casey Kane pushing really hard. Now, he won last week driving a truck for Kyle Busch. I don't think that's going to make him give him any courtesy here.
Yeah, he's been about 1/10 of a second faster than Kyle every single lap, so he's got time. And not much, though.
Not much. We mentioned at the beginning of the race, it was Casey last year. He had a great run going in that 38 car, got swept up in somebody else's crash.
Laps are ticking away. 3 to go.
3 this time now, and Kyle Busch looking at 2 more lap cars in front of him. That's James Buescher in the 34, and that he is 13th, 2 laps down, and Michael Annett. Annett is 24th, 4 laps down. They both give way. 2 laps to go here at the world's fastest half mile. And that may be all he needed. That lap traffic. Look at that. He jumped out on Casey there. White flag is out.
White flag right here. Bring it home to us, bud.
Well, one more time around down the backstretch. It'll be the 45th time in his Nationwide Series career. And remember, Mark Martin had widened that gap 2 weeks ago? He just closes it. It's down to 4. Kyle Busch with Casey Kane second. Coming home in third, Dale Earnhardt Jr. In fourth, Elliott Sadler with his best run of the year. Joey Logano rounds out the top 5.
Four wins in a row at the High Bank Bristol Motor Speedway for Kyle Busch, reigning NASCAR Nationwide Series champion. And Kyle, another dominant performance here at Bristol. What is it about you in this place? I mean, you made it look easy, but I understand from listening to the radio when you put those right side tires on early on, the car was a bit of a handful.
It was. It changed the dynamic of the car quite a bit. And, you know, we had to compensate for that driving style-wise, and then on our next pit stop, getting some changes made to the car. But Jason and these guys did such a great job. We played a lot yesterday with different setups and what we wanted to do and how we wanted to do it and what exactly we were looking for. I know the feel I need, but it's just hard to try to get it sometimes. And we got it there yesterday and felt pretty good about it. And then they had the tire deal, and we were a little nervous about it, but it worked out today. So I can't thank Z-Line Designs and Jim and Monica enough. They're here with us today, so cool to have them on board and win for them when they're here with us. NOS Energy Drink, Toyota. This Camry was awesome today, and Nationwide Insurance, fun series to race in, and then Marquis Jets, Gillette, and of course the fans. You know, it's cool to come to Bristol and see this place, and of course, you know, there's a lot of people here today. Hopefully there's a lot more tomorrow.